Hi, I'm Manny, and prepare yourself for Old Man Yells at Cloud all day long. Well, not all day, just for like 8 minutes. But prepare yourself because I am an old man, 30, like mid 30s, and I'm about to yell at clouds, baby. So here we go. Back when I was younger, right? Because you got to start it out with back in my day. Uh, so back when I was younger, there were magazines that you could subscribe to, and every month in the mail you would get that month's version of the magazine with all the articles and stuff, right? For me, it was Game Informer. It was a gaming magazine that had like interviews and reviews and previews and all this stuff. And I would pay a fee to get the new edition of the magazine every month. Now, why am I bringing this up? Why am I yelling at this particular cloud? Well, because recently I've come to understand that there are several online news sites where you have to pay to read articles in the site, and it feels kind of shitty because I wasn't gonna like pay, like I am not paying a news site to like watch, basically read a news broadcast. But the thing I love so much about the back in the day, where I would pay and I would get a physical magazine that I would own and I could keep and I could reread. And I feel like we've gotten so far away from just letting the customer have a product. Like nowadays, it has to be letting the customer rent the product or give them access to a product. It makes it feel so much more disposable and so much less valuable than a physical item that you can interact with at your leisure. Like I had a massive collection of Game Informer magazines, like months and months worth. And I even like years after these magazines were published, back when when those games, the games they reported on stopped being relevant, I would still go back and read about all these games and these like funny articles and top 10 lists and stuff. And yes, I didn't always agree with all of the opinions that were expressed, but it like I guess what I'm trying to get at is I miss paying for something that I can own. Like when I buy music, I do buy music digitally, but I buy MP3s that I can just have the files and have them on my phone or my tablet or whatever or my computer, and I can just have it physically, not in the strictest sense of the word. Like I don't have them like in like concrete CD form or whatever, but at least that's something I own, and I miss that. And I wish it was kind of like that for like news sources. I wish news sources like, I don't know, the fucking New York Times or The Verge or whatever the fuck would like do the what Game Informer did and just have the magazine that you would pay for, and then you get it in the mail and you would read it and you could keep it as like a toilet book. Because I remember those Game Informer magazines were peak toilet books. You know, the thing you have next to your toilet that you like pull up to read, back when you didn't just pull out your phone and distract yourself and completely ruin your ability to have a normal bowel movement. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know. There might be a subscription thing, like a news source that has like a subscription magazine thing that they deliver to you. But I haven't heard of it, and if I haven't heard of it, then that's probably a failing on their ability to market that kind of thing. And the funny thing is, you could righteously tell me, oh, but you use Steam? Because Steam is a service where you don't technically own anything. And you know what? Yeah, you're right. Steam is a service that flat out tells you that when Steam DRM goes down someday, because entropy will get to all of us, uh, you won't have those games you paid for, and you agreed to that. So how can you sort of condemn the practice of paying for a subscription for something you don't necessarily own? And what I say to that is, good point, but here's the thing. Steam makes me feel valued as a customer because they focus on the aspects of the service that you as a customer are more than happy to pay for and agree to those terms. A lot of these services are so money hungry and want to dominate the market so badly that they kind of miss the forest for the trees, and they adopt all these tactics that they think will make them more money, but if anything, it just makes them look worse than the service that is just giving you a good product that you want. And I want to clarify something. I'm kind of sucking Steam's wiener a little bit too much, but I know they're not perfect. Like, no company's perfect, and realistically, no company is like your friend. They're corporate entities. Like, they just make money and stuff. But it's just that Steam does the right things just well enough to basically it's kind of like that whole meme of like the abused child is surprised when it feels loved. It's like that, right? Like, we're so used to companies taking their customers for granted, and then Steam comes along and does a little bit like extra besides the bare minimum, and we're like, holy shit, this is fucking peak. But getting back to the overall point that I'm trying to make is that consumerism and culture and all of these things just seem to be going in a cycle. So I'm waiting for it to cycle back to we want physical products that we can keep. And when people are like, oh, well, if that's what's going to make us money, we'll do that. But I don't know how long it might take, because it's like that meme from that movie that I don't even know and haven't seen, where it's like time is a flat circle. It's like, yeah, it's a cycle where we're kind of like circling the drain of predictability. It just takes a little bit less longer each time it cycles. And to clarify the point I made way earlier about having like physical monthly magazines, I know that some people can very easily and reasonably say, you just described a newspaper, dumbass. And first of all, language, not necessary. But yes, I am a dumbass. And yes, but there's something about, like, I don't know, it's just the newspaper it gets back to the thing where you don't necessarily really collect newspapers unless you're like a hoarder, like one of the really bad, like nasty hoarders. But a magazine, like a specialized monthly edition of a magazine telling you, oh, look at all these crazy stories and like opinion pieces and stuff, like it would just be nice to have that kind of thing as not just like a thing that you pay for, but like as a collectible or a memento of how the world was through the eyes of this publication at some point in time. But anyway, that's about all the yapping I've got for today. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.